where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name's Chet Roivas, with me is John Denton.
Hello.
And we are a couple of long-term, very prolific games journalists.
OXM, Games Jam, Telegraph. You probably read us over the years.
Yeah, there you go. Basically, what this podcast is, if you've not listened before, is every week John and I compile a list of the 10 games we've been playing the most, and then we go through them one at a time from 10 to 1, with the number ones being the games we've been playing the most. We don't share the list beforehand, and although it can be anything, 5 minutes on an iPhone game, although because me and John are lucky, privileged enough to write about games for a living, it's going to primarily be new and upcoming stuff. So we're going to stay current. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, let's go.
Let's get cracking. Right, my number 10 this week is Wipeout on the Vita, on the PS Vita.
Shit, that's my number 10 as well.
I actually, weirdly, because I've worked on Xbox magazines on 360 and 360 Zine I've been in Xbox for about 4 years. I've not actually played the Vita. Now I'm freelance. I can get involved with Sony again. Anyway, so I decided to play one in the shop today. I went to Game Station and I spoke to the man in the shop about deals and things like that. And he pulled out his Vita and let me have a go. And I kind of spoiled it a little bit because the machine's so nice. I wanted it to be, the first time I played it, to be a nice, brand new, shiny one where you take his is covered in like paw prints. It was in a really crappy case.
I'd have handed it straight back to him.
I didn't really want to play it, but I had my little boy with me and all this sort of stuff. So I decided to load up Vita, and Wipeout, and the whole time that I was playing it, he was just giving me the hard sell. I didn't have the heart to tell him, listen, mate, I know what it is. I was just trying to kind of tune him out. And then after 5 minutes of being pretty impressed by Wipeout, it looks amazing. I knew it was going to look good because I understand what the machine is, but still, like you say, when the first time you see it, it is quite impressive. He just oversold, and then he started telling lies. He said that a new Call of Duty game is going to be cross-compatible with the PS3 version. I was like, hold on.
They love doing that, though, the people that work in those shops.
And then he said something else about cross-compatibility, and I was like, see you later. So, no disrespect to the machine, but people in Game Station don't oversell because you won't sell anything.
Yeah, too true. That's actually my number 10 as well. I mean, it feels nice. The one thing I will say about it is it is just another Wipeout game.
Yeah, which is what put me off as well as impressed me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great, but I mean, it's an exceptionally well-made Wipeout game, but aren't they all? And I have to say, I'm more of an F-Zero guy anyway.
I am as well. I liked 2097 back on the PS1 a lot, but that was a long time ago, and I don't really think it's been bettered. I played the PS3 one quite a lot, Wipeout. Was it just called Wipeout HD? I think it was. And again, I was just like, it's still Wipeout, still floaty, and you got the 2 air brakes. And this was, I could see me playing it for an hour on a train and then never ever playing it again.
I don't know, I really liked it. I don't think it's any better or worse than any Wipeout game. I thought it was just another really good Wipeout game. Did you try the tilt controls?
No, I just played regular controls. To be honest, this guy was just badgering me the whole time, so I couldn't really concentrate.
If ever a racing game can't work with tilt controls, it's Wipeout, because you'd be flinging it around like a fucking nutcase, because those corners are so sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, it was most of the touchscreen features where you can go through the menus was nice, but the tilt controls was just a real fuck up.
Didn't even know it had them, to be honest, but I don't really like tilt controls for racing games, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, I prefer the precision of having a stick or a wheel.
The wheel, the fucking Mario Kart. I still maintain that that's the best with that stupid little steering wheel.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is fun. Fucking brutal loading times, though, eh?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Just standing there, this guy's chirping away at me, and my little boy's starting to cry. I want him to shut up. The man, not the boy. And then, I'm just watching this percentage go up, and I don't understand. It's coming from inside his Vita, but yeah, I will grab the machine at some point, but not from that man.
Yeah, not with that game.
And not with that game, no.
Yeah. All right, well, my number 10 was Wipeout as well, so what's your number 9?
Oh, okay. My number 9 is a game called Draw Something on iOS. I don't know if you've heard anyone speaking about it this week. It's like the latest craze. It's free. It's basically Words with Friends, but instead of words, it's Pictionary, and you just asynchronously send each other stupid pictures. The game will ask you to draw something. You draw something, send it across, and then it appears on their screen. But it doesn't just appear as a finished drawing. It appears as a video of how you've drawn it, so they can try and guess. It's quick, like you do in Pictionary. You try and guess before they finish the picture. This works in the same way. So you're watching the drawing kind of appear in front of you on your screen, and you're trying to guess using like Hangman type stuff. There's letters at the bottom, not Hangman, more like Boggle. Real simple game. Just the type of thing that you just waste time doing, and it's free.
It sounds great. You can do it. Yeah. You can do it competitively then.
No, it's almost cooperatively. You're trying to see how far you can get. I've only been playing it a little bit, but it does seem like you're trying to. Yeah, you want the other guy to succeed. So, and then between you get new high scores to see how many levels you get past and how many coins you get on the way. Like you can choose between 3 clues at the beginning: one's for 1 coin, one's for 2 coin, then trickiest one's for 3. So. It just seems you just cooperatively trying to get as far as you can and making each other laugh in the process. It's fun. I'll be playing it for ages, I'm sure.
That sounds good. I'm going to pick that up. That sounds good.
Yeah, it would do.
Okay, my number 9 is Mod Nation Racers Road Trip on the Vita. I've got a real soft spot for the Mod Nation Racers series, and I think it's quite underrated. I really like the sort of risk-reward gamble that you pay with the boost meter, because you've played those games,
I've never
right?
played Mod Nation ever.
I mean, aside from the superb track building stuff on the PS3 version, when you're racing, you can build up your boost and use your boost, but when your boost meter is full, you can block. You can basically you have a shield, and you can sideswipe other races. So it's you can't just keep boosting. You have to be strategic about it. Again, the load times are absolutely fucking brutal. I mean, I can't even remember first run PSP games taking that long to load.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is strange, and but I really like this game. It's kind of the frame rate issues later on. After you've been playing it for a while, there's I had some real issues with frame rate during the game, but I still think it's really fun. It's a quintessential launch game. It's not quite as good as it should be, but if you're a fan of the series like I am, I'm loving it. And creating tracks with the touchscreen is just like it's wicked. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of that than most people, I reckon.
Do you remember the guy in the original Mod Nation Racers video at E3?
Yes, and I'd love to quote him. Me and a mate quoted
this little guy right here.
I'm sure we'll put some of them over there. Yeah, that YouTube video is gold. Actually, that's a perfect thing to put at the end of the podcast. Anyway, that's my number 9.
Yeah, that sounds better than Wipeout, do you reckon?
For me, no. Wipeout's a more rounded package, and honestly, the frame rate stutters quite a bit. When I got further on in the campaign, like I said, it's a first generation game through and through. Should be better, but I like the series, so they're kind of on a par, really.
Right. Cool. My number 8 is a game called Dylan's Rolling Western on 3DS. It's a downloadable game. I had to review it. It's quite expensive. I think it's like a tenner, which is a lot for a 3DS downloadable game.
Jesus.
It's a tower defense / sort of third-person exploring game, and it's fucking crap. It's such a crap game. You play this armadillo called Dylan. He's like a drifter cowboy, and he drifts into town and has to... Oh, man. There's just so many stupid words. I don't want to have to say them all. Basically, he has to protect these things called scruffles, which are like pigs, from groks, which are rocks. And to do that, he's standard tower defense shit. Well, you think it is. So you go around, get the resources, and then build up towers. And then you'd think that they deal with the rocks, but no, they don't do anything. They're basically pointless. So you have to scoot around the level using a stupid drag down on the stylus, then let go boost system to make your twat armadillo roll about. And then you have to go up to each grok, which is just a big rock with a face, roll at it, and then it cuts to a mini game where you fight a load of little groks in a space or somewhere. I don't know where the fuck you are. And all you do to beat them is do that same roll thing, and that's the whole game. And apparently there's over 20 hours of gameplay in this game. I didn't want to play it for more than 20 minutes. It just made me want to...
You were paid to review. What did you give it?
I gave it 40-something%. Yeah, it's crap.
A fucking tenner, though. I presume you can get like a trial. No.
I don't think there is a trial. It's got nice production values. It looks like it's going to be a high-quality Nintendo game. It just isn't. It's just misery.
I say it's not Nintendo developed.
No, but it's like one of those games that feels like it's had Nintendo's eye on it.
Not their fucking seal of approval, by the sounds of it.
Everything's got their seal of approval, hasn't it?
Otherwise, I don't know. Online, I mean, I think they've had to. They turn their backs to stuff that goes out on the WiiWare and the 3DS. Although I've not played a whole lot of it, I've seen some really shoddy shit on there before.
Yeah, but they're quite. Have you heard about that game that they're not allowing on the 3DS store, The Binding of Isaac, from the Super Meat Boy guy?
Yeah, but I think there's other reasons behind that. I don't think.
Yeah, it's to do with the religious overtones or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. Nintendo seal of approval. This podcast has a Nintendo seal of approval.
Is that right?
No, but one day. That's my aim.
Come on, Shigsy, if you're listening, sort us out.
What do you mean if?
Excellent point. Okay, right, my number 8 is FIFA. FIFA Vita, FIFA Football, as it's called on the Vita.
FIFA Football?
Yeah, it's FIFA in your hand. It's the best handheld football game by far. Fantastic. I mean, it's... As many people have pointed out, it's if you've got used to tactical defending and all of the little sort of trinkets. There's no Ultimate Team, there's no EA Sports Football Club, there's no tactical defending. It is basically FIFA 11. But when I was playing it, I was like, shit, man! Without all those finicky, fucked up collisions, I think I kind of like the simplicity of it. But yeah, it's FIFA in your hand. It's great. The online's really cool, although you can only do sort of competitive one-on-one. It works great. The only thing that's kind of annoying is the great thing about holding the Vita, especially if you spent your Christmas fucking crippled playing Mario Kart on the 3DS like I did. Yeah. If you've got massive hands, it works perfectly. And the way they use the rear screen on the back, you're running towards goal, you've pressed the exact point as if you were looking front on to the goal, tap where you want the ball to go and it'll shoot. It works like a fucking dream. Except
so the back of the Vita's, you can like a goal. You imagine a goal overlaid on that, do you? Yeah.
So yeah, okay. But yeah, exactly that. So then you tap in the top right corner with your fingers around the back of the console.
Top right corners.
Top right corners. But the thing is, the rear touchscreen's so big, and my hands are so big that if my fingers even slightly go on it, a message will come up on the screen saying your fingers are on the touchscreen. So it doesn't work. So I end up holding it like a 3DS, like I'm crippling myself. That aside,
you don't have to shoot like that though, do you?
No, you don't. And I mean, although I scored once with that, and it was just like fucking awesome. I wouldn't do it online because there's more at stake then, and you'd be a bit pissed off if you lost because you were fucking spazzing up with the with that button. But yeah, I mean, using the touchscreen to actually, if you can play a ball into space in ways that you never can, because if you just tap where you want the ball to go on the screen, they'll kick it there, and you can play it like that for a little while. But going between doing that and using the thumbstick and the buttons is a bit of a pain in the ass. It's like Pro Evo on the Wii. Remember that one when you dragged the thing to where you wanted to go? And at first I was like, it's so awesome. But then after a couple of games, you're like, yeah, I want the classic controller support, really.
But you can just play it. You can ignore all of that crap, can you? And just
play it as if it's FIFA, and it's FIFA in your hand, and it looks incredible, feels great. Yeah, it's the best handheld football game of all time, and I quite like that 3DS Pro Evo actually.
Yeah, I do as well. I haven't played the newer one, but I played the first one.
The one that launched with it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds good. Like that, I was very tempted to get the Vita with FIFA, just because I could see myself seshing that up, even though I've done it to death on the home console, on the home game. Right, now number 7. Assuming you finished talking about FIFA.
I have.
You have, lovely. My number 7 is SSX.
Have it.
All I've written on my notes is global events.
Oh,
I'm playing some global events, which are dangerous, especially in a week where I've had lots of work to do, which is always good, but dangerous when you're playing stuff that isn't for work. For people who don't know about how the global events work, I use this word a lot in this podcast, too much, asynchronous multiplayer events, where, what's the best way to describe it, where you kind of set times amongst huge amounts of people, and everyone can play it at their own pace. And
people, you can create them yourself. There's a certain, you pick a spot. There's certain, it is hard to explain. You compete on a race. You do a race. You're either trying to get a high trick score. You're trying to beat a high, get to the bottom the fastest. But when you finish, you're sort of siphoned off into brackets that tell you where you're due to, what sort of medal you're due to get, and everyone else is free to compete with them until the timer runs down on the event and it stops.
Yeah, and you have to buy into the events, don't you, with your overall credits?
Yeah, the really good ones, yeah.
And then gamble them, and then you can win a shitload off the back end. Dangerously addictive.
Yep.
As I knew, as I was reviewing the game a while back, I knew the danger of that game, danger in a good way, would be the online stuff, because I knew I could sense that you were going to get into a loop where you get sucked into the next challenge, next friend's high score to beat, and you just get lost in there for hours. And the single-player Deadly Descents thing was just going to be throwaway crap, and that was where the real game was. And I was right, because I was.
Yeah, it took the most undignified chunk out of my fucking Saturday, because I stuck it on in the morning just to have a go. I did a few global events. I got gold on a couple, and then it pinged up, one of your mates has just beat your time. I was fucking straight back in, beat that again, and then it said you're no longer eligible for the gold medal we said you, and I was like, fuck, and I just went straight back. I mean, honestly, hours I was there going in circles, but you really feel like you're part of this massive community and this massive competition. So invigorating and so exciting. Online, that game, if that isn't the most influential game of this year so far, I mean, there's something's very wrong.
I'm glad it's done well. I'm really glad it's done well.
Me too.
It deserves to. It's really good. There are problems with the single player stuff. I don't know if you've got to the Deadly Descents and done much of that stuff. It's a bit like, it's pretty gimmicky. I'm glad they steered away from that direction a while ago in development, because it seems like that was kind of
it's not SSX,
antithetical to what SSX is. But there's a great game in there.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Deadly Descents, because I'm a real. If there's any kind of game that I get really stuck into, it's games that I'm constantly restarting and constantly dying and constantly, fast restart rubbish. Well, not rubbish, but stuff that involves you to keep restarting, like beating high score times on stuff.
Trials
like that.
HT stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And those Deadly Descents, I think they're really good, but they're not SSX. I couldn't enjoy SSX for what it was. It became something completely different, and I like that. But yeah, I'm also glad that they clearly realised that wasn't a sort of a bone to chase, and they went with the other stuff instead.
Yeah. Awesome. So that was my number 7.
Okay. My number 7 is Uncharted Golden Abyss on the Vita.
It's been a Vita week.
It has been a Vita week. I've been caning absolutely everything on it. And yeah, what can you say? It's an Uncharted game, so it's really good. There's not really much else you can say. When I played it initially at preview events, sort of earlier this year, I was worried that they had kind of made the structure deliberately bitty, so that they shoehorned an Uncharted game into a format that would work on a handheld, and they haven't done that. They've just given it a save structure. Well, I say they haven't done that. They kind of done that a little bit. The missions are shorter, and but not noticeably so. And they've sort of compensated for that by having a really, really sort of effective save system. You can save anywhere at any time, and then that works great.
That's good. You need that on a handheld.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. It feels like the sensible choice rather than sort of trying to make it smaller.
Touchscreen stuff. Good, bad.
Anything when you have to swipe the screen to do a couple of gestures, which they make you do only a handful of times, it's just like, why? There's no point. But the tilt-based stuff, the gesture stuff, like if you're on a ledge and you want to lean over to jump onto something off it, I was doing that instinctively after the first few times. That just feels great. Just sort of tilts. Cool. Yeah, really effective. That. The story's really unmemorable. I mean, it's the characters are there, but the story's just kind of sort of ho-hum. And there's some really weird things. Like there's a massive sort of minigun section, and I'm like, that's not really Nathan Drake. He's not Rambo. But as fun as it was, I was just like, that just seems like a very, very weird, slightly desperate thing to throw in.
Killed a lot of people, that guy.
He has, but he does it in a very Indiana Jonesy way. He's not ever I've never run into a situation just fucking Rambo'd everybody. But to do that in that felt like a kind of, it's really fun, those bits, but kind of desperate, I thought. But it's an Uncharted game, and it's very good. That's all you can say, really.
Yeah. I probably will end up getting around to playing it at some point, I would have thought, in my life.
Yeah, worth doing.
Yeah, it's Drake, isn't it?
That's it.
So my number 6 is a game called iBomber Pacific, I think, or iBomber Pacific Elite or something like that. It's on the iPhone.
Okay.
The reason it's so high on my list is because I've had to play it for review, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a tower defense game set in Pacific region, World War II times. Really simple stuff comes through, little maps, roads, sometimes rivers, estuaries. You set up stuff in grids around it and watch it shoot the stuff. It's completely unremarkable, but completely solid at the same time. At no point did I not want to play it when I was playing it, but at no point have I thought about playing it again since I stopped. So that's basically all I can say about that game.
Okay. Have these games deepened your love for tower defense, or
No. I'm still completely apathetic towards tower defense. They're strange games because I see the appeal at a sort of base level. There's sort of simple thrill making a plan and watching it work. I guess that's the best way to describe what those games do to you in your brain. It just doesn't massively appeal to me. I've never played one which has really grabbed me and made me want to continue making new plans and setting up new shit at all, really. And this is definitely not as good as Pixel Junk Monsters or
the other one.
Yeah, it's not as good as that or some of the others. It's not as good as Plants vs Zombies, although it is more tactical, I guess. Maybe it doesn't have its personality. It's fine. It's like a couple of quid on the App Store if you really need another tower defense game on your iPhone. I'm sure you don't.
Who does? Cool. What was that? Okay, right.
That was my 6.
6, right. Okay, my number 6 is Pink Sweets, the other half of the Mochi Mochi Pork and Pink Sweets double bill that I paid a fortune to import from Japan on the Xbox 360 because I'm not an idiot.
I was going to say idiot, so it's funny that you thought that.
Yeah. No, I'm not an idiot because I fucking love those games. A genius, I'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, cave shooters, it's hard. All I'll say is that whoever, there's a rumour, and I've heard it so much, that Mochi Mochi Pork and Pink Sweets are hands down the easiest cave shooters that have ever been released, and that is horseshit because I thought it was me, but I stuck on Espagaluda 2 and I came through it, and I played. What was the one I played? What's the XBLA one? Galarang.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
Yeah, Garage, that's it. And I smashed it on those, but these two are fucking difficult. And yeah, in comparison to the last one, instead of pigs, you're collecting roses. You have this sort of shield called a rose cracker. You build that up, but you only build it up when you're not shooting. So it's again, it's risk reward. It's like when you're not shooting, you can build this thing up, completely stay covered, and then go up to enemies and then sort of detonate it like a bomb, but not giving you enough time to rebuild it up again into a shield. Again, that's it. It's a cave shooter, so it sounds like a fucking nightmare come alive. There's some really, unlike other cave games, there's some really, really endearing all of your base are belong to us style like errors in the translation or just sort of bad translations. Don't
remind everyone again how much you paid for these games.
Well, that double bill was a ton, £100. But
100 English pounds.
I'm going to get a lot of play out of them because I do really, really like cave shooters.
I watched a bit of Mushy Mushy Pork on YouTube, and it gave me a migraine.
I'll tell you what, I bet did you listen to it with the sound up?
Yeah.
I mean,
hell.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Jesus Christ. I do wonder what my neighbours think because that's not music. It's not. It doesn't even sound like a game. It just sounds like someone trying to piss his neighbours off deliberately.
Once at university, I had to watch Senegalese cinema, and all it was women with their tops off slaughtering cows and screaming just like that, and I had to leave.
That's their entire cinematic output?
Well, I'm basing their entire cinematic output on the 20 minutes of this one film I managed to stumble.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Is it me? It's me. Number 5, Syndicate.
Nice.
Still single player, still really like it, still super slick. Simple enough in many ways, fairly linear, I guess you could say. I'm always a fan of games that try and be slightly more than some of their parts in terms of how they tell a story is perhaps not the right choice of words because Syndicate story is pretty flimsy.
Pretty flimsy? That's a fucking understatement. It's the worst. It's that it's set the benchmark. It's the shittest video game story of all time.
But the way they've built the world and how that ties into your character and the HUD and all that stuff. I really like. I like that. I like the way games can do that. There's stuff that games can do that other mediums can't really do.
Yeah.
And Starbreeze are masters of that, really. And that, coupled with the really cool breaching stuff and the flow of the combat, is just. I'm still really into it. I still think it's damn fine shooter. And when I manage to clear my schedule, I'm sure I'll be able to get to the end of it and then finally get onto some co-op as well.
You need to do that because co-op is special, and it's. I'll talk more about that in a bit. Okay, where are we? Number 5. My number 5 is Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which I played the full version of extensively over the last few days, and it's pretty great. As I think every review I've read has pointed out, it is almost the exact halfway point between Street Fighter 4 and Marvel vs. Capcom. When I did the tutorial, which is really it's actually quite short. You've done it, right, with Dan making those stupid wisecracks.
It's my number one this week, so I played a lot.
I thought it was just, I was like, cross cancels, cross assaults, launchers, assist gems, boost gems, quick combo. No, but there was so much information. I was like, Jesus Christ almighty, I'm never going to be able to remember all this. Despite the fact that most of them are mapped to 2 buttons. And it's really simple. After, I reckon, about 5 games, I was like, I've got it. I've nailed it.
Yeah, it's not difficult to play, but that tutorial, I mean, they say, it's quite funny that they say that a lot of it's been designed to help newcomers, and then they launch that tutorial at you. That made me want to quit gaming.
I mean, I have a soft spot for Dan, so I'll kind of forgive him anything.
Oh, yeah, no, I was happy. In fact, he was the only one that dragged me through it. When they started talking about cross-counter, some people can speak like that. It's a special language that the true fighting game fans, they can speak like that. That's fine.
Have you ever read them talk about fighting game fans talk about fighting games on a forum where everything's abbreviated? Yeah. And I'm just like, what? I wish I knew what the fucking hell that meant.
I actually went on Wikipedia before I wrote my review for Video Gamer to look up every single bit of jargon about fighting games, and most of it's really simple stuff that you and I know without knowing the words for, if that makes any sense. Tactics that we play every single time, but I guess we're not involved specifically in the community, so we don't really talk like that. But I mean, like I say, it's my number 1 this week, so I've been playing the hell out of it. I really like how they managed to incorporate Tekken's essence with the juggles into Street Fighter's engine. And even though none of the inputs are right for the likes of Law or Kazuya or King or any of their moves, they still make sense in a Street Fighter context. So once you've spent 5 minutes in the menu picking out their signature moves, they work just as well as chucking a fireball or throwing a spinning bird kick, I find. I like the way that they're different as well. They do feel different to the Street Fighter characters.
Yeah, they do.
In not only just stuff like not having fireballs, but even the way their combos work. They're more chain heavy rather than the way that the Street Fighter characters, you have to link everything. You can be a bit more sort of slap happy on the buttons with some of the Tekken characters. It seems like it's really well balanced. I'm unsure about the gem system. It feels like it might be one system too much.
I'm like, I have a feeling that although on the surface I experiment with lots of the gems, I'm worried that somewhere, because there's so fucking many, somewhere down there's a combination that's going to be an exploit that's going to cause headaches for fucking ever.
Yeah, it felt like there was nothing specifically wrong with it, but when I dived into that editing screen, it was completely overwhelming. Even once I figured out that a lot of them are actually the same, it's just the inputs were different. It just felt like the game was strong enough to not need this extra layer. That's how it felt for the first, I probably put 10 hours at least into it. Online, I don't know if they fixed. I've not played it today. It's out now in the States. It's been out since yesterday.
No, I played it today and the sound's still fucked.
The sound's still fucked. Yeah. That is a real problem. There's other issues with DLC on the disc and stuff people are moaning about. It's a fine package for the price you pay for it, as far as I'm concerned. You can argue with that. That's another issue. On this game, I've got no real problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much content.
People in there, and
yeah, I mean, I was happy with it as a package. I'm interested in that whole argument because I always am a bit sceptical when people take like a whole day to respond to a complaint. So when Capcom came back and they said stuff that sounded quite valid, but then again, they could have put a spin on it and whatever. And Capcom have been notorious in the past for doing stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, but if you want to buy that game, there's no reason not to get it because you're getting your fucking money's worth, no question.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. There are some instances where having DLC on the disc and day one DLC, all that stuff, I'll talk about something in a minute to do with that. But in this particular instance, like you say, it's best to try and forget about that and be like a normal punter who wouldn't even know that stuff existed and just pay for the game because there's a huge chunk of game in there and Yoshihiro Ono fighting game. That guy's the business.
No doubt.
It's me again, isn't it?
It is.
Number 4. Hero Academy.
Jesus.
Becoming a problem. It's becoming a problem. All I've written in my notes is crack, full stop.
Sounds like Advance Wars.
Yeah, it is, but because it's asynchronous, just like any... Oh, God, right, I promise you that's the last time I'm saying that. Because you're constantly getting badgered by people. You're not just playing it in your set-aside gaming time that you've decided to play a video game. It's infecting my work. It's infecting my almost every aspect of my life. It's infecting my going to the loo because I will spend more time there so I can think about my Hero Academy games. It's still a really simple strategy game. It's still free.
Is it simple though? Because I finally downloaded it and I watched the tutorial video with the guy talking about it, and I was like, seems like a bit too much to take in. Should I just jump in?
It's simpler than Advance Wars.
No, it's really.
Yeah, it is. If you try and take in all its systems all at once in one go, I reckon it might be a bit confusing. It's the type of thing that takes maybe 2 games. But yeah, just have a game with me and we'll chat at the same time, and you can just ask any questions. But
over
as
the
you
phone?
play. Or on this.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, that would work.
I was taking this. Never mind.
Yeah, nice. Just ruined my flow. Unbelievable.
Sorry.
At any point, you can just press a screen and a little question mark pops up and you just press it and it'll tell you what each thing does. But basically, you've got like 4 unit types, I think. A few, I think they call them buffs. A few buffs. And... like a spell that you can assign at the right time. It's really simple. It is really simple.
I'm surprised that because I've heard so many people talking about it, they're not making any money off it. I think I've asked you this before. There aren't microtransactions, are there?
Oh yes, they're making money off it. It is free, and then you can pay 69p to get rid of the ads, which aren't that intrusive. But after a while, I was like, I'm kind of sick of these ads, and they deserve 69p.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah. Also, what they brilliantly have done, you can buy new teams. There's dark elves and dwarves. They're £1.99 normally, but they did a special offer on the dark elves for 69p, and that also gets rid of the ads as well. So you can buy a new team and that will take out the ads.
Nice.
So I did that, 69p down. I think they're making a shitload of money off it, to be honest.
Good for them.
Almost every random my players bought both the elves and the dwarves because it's just a good game and you want a new team to experiment with the new tactics.
Fair play. Okay, that's cool. Okay.
Get stuck in.
Well, we're number. I'm gonna try that this week. You have my word, sort of half-assed word. My number 4 is Lumines Electronic Symphony on the Vita. Far and away the best game on the Vita. If you're one of those people, I think everybody who thinks I don't want to shell out full whack for a puzzle game, shell out full whack for a puzzle game. It's the best game on the Vita. Again, the touchscreen editions are pointless. You can speed up sort of how fast your bonus goes by tapping on the rear of the screen, which is completely a pain in the arse that they should have chopped. And you can sort of initiate sort of perks, so to speak, by tapping on the screen once. But essentially, and you can actually play the game by using the touchscreen, but if you do that, you're a maniac because you're going to die straight away. It's still the great game it was. The music's great, but it had a really profound effect on me, this one. I don't know why. It's really hard to describe. When people talk so much about how games transport them to another world, and this kind of did that for me. It took me back to when I was a kid and I just lived in nightclubs and was surrounded by electronic music, and it's weird. I don't know why it had that effect on me, but it was really profoundly. Like when I put it down, I was just like, I felt like I'd been somewhere. And that's really weird for a game, let alone a fucking puzzle game. And it's probably exclusive to me, but it was a really profound. It made me feel very, very profoundly unusual, but brilliantly so. And just
unusual.
But if you haven't played it before, get it. It's a puzzle game. It's a great puzzle game. What can you say? It's awesome.
That was a fantastic description.
But description of how it made me feel. It's not. If I'm trying to describe to someone who's thinking about getting it, I don't know if that's the greatest description because.
Oh yeah, but you can only describe how it made you feel, and you know that is a game traditionally that does make you feel more than just sliding blocks around.
Well, Mizoguchi's stuff. Yeah,
music.
I mean, just the way he emphasises music is very, very powerful sometimes.
Is it the best Lumines then?
Yes, it's the best. I mean,
it's better than 2 with Black Eyed Peas and all that shit.
Yes. Oh God. Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, Lumines 2 had some horror shows in it. Yeah, Black Eyed Peas. That's all I can remember. Hoobastank. Hoobastank was in Lumines 2.
I don't even know who the hell that is.
They're like a softish rock, American college rock kind of.
Is that rock with a W?
Yeah.
Sounds great. Why is rock music in it anyway?
I think they wanted to appeal to a bigger market, didn't really work.
Yeah, this is all like techno and trance, and there's a couple of sort of tunes. There's a Chemical Brothers tune in there. There's a couple of stuff. It's only block rocking beats. I'd rather have had a bit of horsepower in there, but the track selection's really great. It's just I fucking love it. The only thing is that playing a game that does take a long time. That's not a game to play on the bus. Which is weird that it's on a handheld. I don't know, again, whether this is exclusive to me. The first game I played lasted well in excess of 70 minutes. I don't know whether... that's always been the case with that game. I'm pretty good at it, but I don't know if that's... did you find that on the PSP one?
Yes. Once I got the hang of it, yeah. Games took a long time.
70 minutes well spent, I might add, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I guess that's why you get sucked into that trance, because it takes so long to play.
And it felt like 5 minutes, honestly.
Right, talking of getting sucked into trances and all sorts of transcendental nonsense, my number 3 is Alan Wake's American Nightmare, Alan Milkshake's American Nightmare.
Nice.
First off, I hate this game.
What?
For a very specific reason. The save system didn't work. Not only did I play the trial and then decide to upgrade to the full game because I enjoyed the trial, and it made me restart the entire game, thus having to redo the first almost hour. I then continued on that game to play for basically half of the game's duration, went back to it, and it had not saved any of my progress. I had to then reload the chapter that I was on. So it remembered that I'd got to that chapter that I was on halfway through the game, but it didn't let me continue my story. So I restarted at the chapter I was on, and it gave me none of the guns that I picked up along the way. So all I had was one pistol. Bear in mind, I picked up one pistol with like a few bullets. And bear in mind, I picked up shotgun, hunting rifles, all sorts of other stuff by this point in my game that I've been playing before. So yeah, suddenly I was up shit creek. I managed to get through a very tricky situation just having a pistol, thankfully, and now I've played more of it and I'm back. It just feels like normal, and it is saving now, but that's really sketchy and not really acceptable. I don't know if anyone else has had that problem. It may have just been a one-off with me, but from my own experience, it pissed me off no end.
Oh, but you're still going to complete it, right?
Yeah, no, that passed it. I'm right near the end now. I was hoping I'd be able to finish it just before this podcast, but I didn't quite manage it. But I'm on the third. You understand that it loops.
Yeah.
The story loops 3 times. Each time it gets shorter. You have to do less of the gibberish, less of the kind of fetch questy stuff. I'm halfway through the third time through. I reckon I'll be done in 25 minutes. Yeah, I like it. I'm starting to actually get my head around what the story's about this time, much like the previous game. It's a game about writer's block, but it's told better this time. And even though the dialogue is largely shit and the acting is at times atrocious, not from Mr. Wake but from his co-stars.
Oh yeah.
The actual way, I think this is my reading of it anyway. The way it's kind of tied in with the idea that he's writing this episode of. It's called Night Springs, I think. What's the program that it's like that begins with an O in real life? Yeah, the fucking.
Oh.
The something. No, the Twilight Zone. Oh, don't know. The Ozone. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, the Twilight Ozone layer. Right.
Twilight Ozone layer. The Twilight Zone. So yeah, it's tying in being inside that with the concept of him having writer's block and. Looping in on himself and setting things, and then suddenly everything's in place. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I like games that are about things, even if they're slightly clumsily executed, which this is. So it's better than games that are just about going to a place and killing a thing. Well done. It's fine. The save system notwithstanding. But yeah, I think it's good. And I really like the idea of these slightly shorter, slightly lower budget, proper games on downloadable service. Stuff that isn't just a flat-planed 2D side scroller, but there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But a 3 or 4, 5 hour proper game that you can download that is a lot cheaper than going to the shop. I'm into this. I'm into this style of delivery.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing that.
It's good as long as you save games and you can stomach the terrible voice acting at times.
Did you decide that you hated it halfway into speaking about it, or was that just you overreacting at the beginning about how much you hated it?
At the time, I was like, "Fuck this game, seriously." I was a nightmare. It was an American nightmare.
Okay, right. My number 3, Battlefield 3. Can't say much more than I've already said about it, except for
that's what you do.
That's what I do. Batters, there's always going to be a bit of batters in there. All I'll say is DICE, that fucking patch you promised us in 1988, sort it out, because I'm getting really fed up of people just killing everybody with MAVs non-stop. It's getting annoying. Sort it out. But otherwise, you and me boys, I love you. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Just do it quicker.
Batters all day.
Batters all day. Batters till I die.
Number 2 for me is, I'm sure, something on your list as well, Mass Effect 3.
It's not, and avoid the fucking spoilers.
Oh, there's no spoilers, don't worry, because I haven't got anywhere, because all I've done is trying to sort my guy's face out. As I'm sure you're aware if you read the internet, there's a huge problem in Mass Effect 3 where faces created in Mass Effect 1 won't transport to Mass Effect 3, despite them coming through Mass Effect 2. It's a real pain in the arse. It's the ultimate first world problem. Oh, my little man's face can't go into my computer game, but it's pissed me off. So, yeah, I can't get my Shepard, who I've spent 50, 60 hours with, into the game. I don't want to be default Shepard. My guy kind of looks a bit like default Shepard.
So does mine. It's negligible.
Yeah, but it's enough. It is enough. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try and pretend like this is the Bourne films and I'm going to basically create Jeremy Renner. So I started trying to do that, and then I remembered that he's not even playing Jason Bourne, but I thought that's irrelevant. I'm going to try and do it. So I made it, and I thought, this guy looks all right. And then I started the game, and you're doing the first little chat, and you speak to Anderson at the beginning, and he looks like a raisin now for some reason. And then I went, shit, that's just my mate Paul. I've just made my mate Paul. So I'm going to have to restart the game, because I don't want to be my mate Paul for 40 hours. He's an idiot.
That's fair enough.
So I decided to do it again, and this time I really spent a long time on it and really got my face, and I was like, bang, that is so much like my original Shepard. I'm happy. Start the game out, I've made Dave Gorman. And I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to stick with it. So I'm about an hour in. The game's bloody good. The combat's much better than it's ever been. The stories, the way they're doing the action and tying it in with the stories, really skillful. Definitely the best they've ever done it. I've not got to the bit where the game starts properly yet, on the ship, going to planets, all that Mass Effect stuff. But I'm just Dave Gorman, and I just don't want to be. I don't know what to do.
Just don't let it get too late. Just fucking go back and just be normal, old school Shep. Add that
I might have to be default Shep, because I can't be Dave Gorman.
Cover girl Shep, the guy on the front. Have you ever been tempted to be a girl, by the way? I haven't really understood that.
No, a lot of people seem to do that with their characters, but it doesn't really appeal to me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. It's just not something I've ever felt inclined to do. I mean, it's not. I do it, but I've never it's not something I'd ever thought about doing. I don't know why.
Yeah, same. I can't even begin to compute the psychology behind it, because I do know loads of people who will always do it. Boys, this is. I'm not one of them. But that's probably something to do with my fragile ego or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, indeed. Okay, my number 2, Syndicate. Again, spoken about it plenty already. It's massively underrated. The co-op is just fucking wonderful. We're doing it on the hardest setting now, me and 3 mates, and it's so challenging. I'm fucking speechless. It's so much fun, so much hard work. It's like Battlefield when you're up against a fucking badass team of fucking hardened fat boys. It's great. Although there's a technical issue which is doing our nuts in, which is we're playing, one of us after about an hour will get booted out back to the dashboard style. I'll come back in, and then the other one will one by one that'll happen, and then after that it's fine. But that's weird. Otherwise, it's fucking
Sounds
great.
like Battlefield as well.
Funnily enough, yes. That's weird. I don't know whether there's a connection there. Of course there is. They're both EA. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's great. By Syndicate, done.
My number one is, again, we talked about it at length already, is Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I've played the crap out of it for review. It's a very, very good fighting game. I don't think it's as good as Super Street Fighter 4 because I like that game as it is more measured. I am not a fighting game mega expert to the point where I can start reeling off high-level combos and talking on forums in a language I don't understand, but I do consider myself a perfectly solid, normal fighting game fan. This is a very, very good one.
I agree. I like it a lot. I don't think it's going to... I'm not going to obsess over it the way like I did with Super Street Fighter 4, but fantastic. 10 times better than anyone could have been expecting. Okay, my number one, SSX. Spoke about it already. The online side is fucking phenomenal. They're geniuses. I love them for it. When I started playing, I was worried that they had... When I started playing it, and they had that fucking DJ Atomica who just sounds like he's straight out of the 90s, and I was like, oh... And then the Deadly Descents, and I was like, this isn't right. Yeah, get on the online side. It's awesome. I'm going to be playing it for a long time, probably way too much, but it's fantastic. Brilliant.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Done.
Lovely.
Okay, I forgot to mention at the beginning that we try and cram this into 40 minutes every week, and once again we failed, but we're getting better, I think, steadily. So next time, hopefully, we're going to be 40 minutes on the nose. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Right, thank you very much for listening. Once again, this has been Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming playlist. You can listen to us on iTunes. You can check us on thefiniteplaylist.com. You can follow us on Twitter at John Denton. That's JONDENTON, John Denton, or at Chet Roivas, Chet, CHET ROIVAS. And we will be back in a week for more dueling playlists, chat, and more Dave Gorman. Peace out.
Goodbye.
This guy needs a real race car, man. I'm sure we've got something better for him in here.
All right. Now we got to put in a background. Why don't we start with some mountains? Can you make some really big mountains?
I think we can do that.
I'm a fan of big mountains.
I think we got something here for you. Nice.
So that looks nice. But where do the moderation racers live? I think we need to build a village for them.
Yeah, I think we got one of them in here. I think we got something here. We'll go with some safety cones around the inside here.
I actually, weirdly, because I've worked on Xbox magazines on 360 then 360 Zine for, I've been in Xbox for about 4 years. I've not actually played the Vita. Now I'm freelance. I can get involved with Sony again. Anyway, so I decided to play one in the shop today. I went to Game Station and I spoke to the man in the shop about deals and things like that. And he pulled out his Vita and let me have a go. And I kind of spoiled it a little bit because I wanted... The machine's so nice. I wanted it to be, the first time I played it, to be a nice, brand new, shiny one where you take the... Yeah, his is covered in, like, paw prints. It was in a really crappy case.
I'd have handed it straight back to him.
I didn't really want to play it, but I had my little boy with me and all this sort of stuff. So I decided to load up Vita, and Wipeout, and the whole time that I was playing it, he was just giving me the hard sell. I didn't have the heart to tell him, listen, mate, I know what it is. I was just trying to kind of tune him out. And then after 5 minutes of being pretty impressed by Wipeout, it looks amazing. I knew it was going to look good because I understand what the machine is, but still, like you say, when the first time you see it, it is quite impressive. He just oversold, and then he started telling lies. He said that new Call of Duty game is going to be cross-compatible with the PS3 version. I was like, hold on.
They love doing that, though, the people that work in those shops.
And then he said something else about cross-compatibility, and I was like, see you later. So, no disrespect to the machine, but people in Game Station don't oversell because you won't sell anything.
Yeah, too true. That's actually my number 10 as well. I mean, it feels nice. I mean, the one thing I will say about it is it is just another Wipeout game.
Yeah, which is what put me off as well as impressed me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great, but I mean, it's an exceptionally well-made Wipeout game, but aren't they all? And I have to say, I'm more of an F-Zero guy anyway.
I am as well. I liked 2097 back on the PS1 a lot, but that was a long time ago, and I don't really think it's been bettered. I played the PS3 one quite a lot. Wipeout. Was it just called Wipeout HD? I think it was. And again, I was just like, yeah, it's still Wipeout, still floaty, and you got the 2 air brakes. And this was, I could see me playing it for go up, and I don't understand. It's coming from inside his Vita, but yeah, I will grab the machine at some point, but not from that man.
Yeah, not with that game.
And not with that game, no.
Yeah. All right, well, my number 10 was Wipeout as well, so what's your number 9?
Oh, okay. My number 9 is a game called Draw Something on iOS. I don't know if you've heard anyone speaking about it this week. It's like it's the latest craze. It's free. It's basically words with friends, but instead of words, it's Pictionary. And you just asynchronously send each other stupid pictures. The game will ask you to draw something. You draw something, send it across, and then it appears on their screen. But it doesn't just appear as a finished drawing. It appears as a video of how you've drawn it, so they can try and guess. As quick like you do in Pictionary, you try and guess before they finish the picture. This works in the same way. So you're watching the drawing kind of appear in front of you on your screen, and you're trying to guess using like hangman type stuff. There's letters at the bottom, not hangman, more like boggle. Real simple game. Just the type of thing that you just waste time doing, and it's free. It's an hour on a train, and then never ever playing it again.
I don't know. I really liked it. I don't think it's any better or worse than any Wipeout game. I thought it was just another really good Wipeout game. Did you try the tilt controls?
No. I just played regular controls. To be honest, this guy was just badgering me the whole time, so I couldn't really concentrate.
If ever a racing game can't work with tilt controls, it's Wipeout, because you'd be flinging it around like a fucking nutcase, because those corners are so sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, it was most of the touchscreen features where you can go through the menus was nice, but the tilt controls was just a real fuck up.
Didn't even know I had them, to be honest, but I don't really like tilt controls for racing games, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, I prefer the precision of having a stick or a wheel.
The wheel, the fucking Mario Kart. I still maintain that that's the best with that stupid little steering wheel.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is fun. Fucking brutal loading times, though, eh?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Just standing there, this guy's chirping away at me, and my little boy's starting to cry. I want him to shut up. The man, not the boy. And then, I'm just watching this percentage.
Where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name's Chet Roivas, with me is John Denton.
Hello.
And we are a couple of long-term, very prolific games journalists.
OXM, Games Jam, Telegraph. You probably read us over the years.
Yeah, there you go. Basically, what this podcast is, if you've not listened before, is every week John and I compile a list of the 10 games we've been playing the most, and then we go through them one at a time from 10 to 1, with the number ones being the games we've been playing the most. We don't share the list beforehand, and although it can be anything, 5 minutes on an iPhone game, although because me and John are privileged enough to write about games for a living, it's going to primarily be new and upcoming stuff. So we're going to stay current. That's it. So let's go.
Let's get cracking. Right, my number 10 this week is Wipeout on the Vita, on the PS Vita.
Shit, that's my number 10 as well.